Okay, so we are going to do an invite power hour tonight. For those of you that have been on the last two, we went through networking, connecting, and now we're going to work on the inviting piece. So I'm actually going to take you guys through a little exercise, and then we're going to focus on inviting for the last half of the call. So I'm just going to share my screen. And as always, I will give you guys this tracker in the chat at the end so that you guys have it. So one thing that I love to teach when I'm doing power hours or whatever, when we're dealing with just inviting in general, I definitely want to go through some of the objections and some of the things that you guys are dealing with as far as like verbiage, language that's not making sense. But I think one of the main things that is so helpful with this is really understanding what the invite means to you. I think a lot of coaches, especially when they're new, and this is good for you guys too, when you're teaching your own coaches how to get out there and invite, is to not just think about like Success Club, PV, income, like where you're going to add people into your organization, like really separating the invite and really understanding what that is. So I personally believe that the invite, like the actual conversation that you're having during the invite process, is the most impactful time we have with our challenger, period. Like that moment when you make the invite is the most impactful piece of the journey that you and your challenger are going to have. And if you think about it this way, like in a really simple way, whenever somebody talks about their story or shares their story, what do they always say? My coach invited me. Like that's what they remember. I was invited and they did the work, right? Like they did the rest. They took the reins. The coach guided and brought structure and support and accountability, but the work was actually done by that person. The only real impactful piece for them where there was like a pivot and a shift and like a real confident commitment in another direction is when them and that coach, whoever invited them, made that invitation and they took it. Think about that. Okay. So as impactful as that piece is, that's why inviting is so addicting to me. I just want to, by a raise of hands, like who loves, I'm just going to spread this out. Who loves inviting? Who really understands it? And like, is like, I get it. I know what an invite is. Like, I'm 100% on board. Like, let's go. This is all I want to do every day, all day. That's me. If I could just invite, I would be the happiest coach in the world. Like all the other crap is what is like, but like the invite part is where, again, you can make the most impact. So of course, that's what I want to be able to do every day. I want to help impact people's lives and change for the better, right? So I'm going to walk you through sort of what that means. I want to help you kind of find that for yourself and define that for yourself. I think it's super important. So we're going to work on that for a minute. So first, what I want you to do, and I'm going to walk you guys through my entire invite process, and I want you guys to ask questions. I want you to post in the chat, like obstacles and objectives that you hear, or like wording that you're not getting right, like where you're getting stuck in your invite process. But I want to go through this first, just to make sure that you understand your own invitation and what you're actually doing every day. Okay. So number one, the first thing I want to do is I want you to give yourself, this is, and you guys don't have to post this in the chat if you don't want to, but you can if you want. I want you to rate your confidence and effectiveness with inviting from 1 to 10. 1 being like none, 10 being mastered. Where are you at? 6, that's very good. 9, nice. Okay, so there's some high numbers, there's some low numbers, that's okay. But this is good. Hopefully this call will be transformational then. So for those of you that have higher numbers, this will be an interesting exercise for you because I feel like you're going to blaze through it. Okay. And that's when, and this is another kind of thing to just understand as a sponsor, when you're teaching people how to invite, like if you can teach your perspective and how you approach inviting, it's so helpful. Okay. Okay. So how do you track your inviting? This is my second question. We're going to go through these first really quick. How do you track your invites? Is there anybody that doesn't track them? Just put yes or no in the chat. Yes, I track them. Here's how I do it. Or no, I don't track them. The main benefit of tracking, and I'm going to tell you, I only track people who I've actually had a conversation with and actually invited. Like, I don't track people that haven't written me back or that ghosted me, really. Like, I track people who I've had a conversation with that has committed already to making the changes. We've talked about programs. I put them in a note in my phone. I start a new note every single month. February 2022, I write their name. I write where I'm talking to them and what I'm talking to them about. Super simple. So in my phone, I have like 5 years of these notes, right? And I consolidate them. But what that gives me is an instant follow-up list every single month, right? I can go back to January of 2021 and be like, oh, who started and who didn't? I really need to hit my goals this month. I really want to find more people to help. I'm going to reach back out to all these people. Hey, remember when we talked 1 year ago? How much leverage do I have? 1 year of leverage. What the freak have you been doing for a year? Catch me up. You know what I mean? So it's so important to track it. I would say track the things that you feel you definitely want to follow up or follow through with. Okay. So if you're like overwhelmed by what to track and what not to, I would say anything where you feel I can come back to this later and recheck in, or I need to follow up and follow through on this with this person. That's who you should track. Okay. So tracking, let's make sure everybody has that in place. And now what I want you to do, I want you to write your current inviting goals. Do you guys have goals that you've set around inviting specifically that you personally set? So I know a lot of people's coaches are like, send out 100 invites a day. Like, set 5 invites a day. Do any of you guys have inviting goals, and what are they? Write them in the chat. Just started 5 a day, 5 days a week. So 25 invites a week. 10 a day, 30 to 40 a week, 60 a week. So Eric, I'm interested in hearing about this next section, like what is considered an invite. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to set a current invitation goal. Here's one thing that I want to say about these invites. Why that number? Why that number? Have you worked out that if you invite that many people, you get X amount converted? Or are you using that number based on what other coaches have done and are telling you what to do? Why that number? Is it because it's approachable? Is it because it's achievable? Like, where did that number come from? A number I feel like I keep up with connections. For every 20, I get about 1. Okay, so one thing that I will say with the tracking part is the more you track, the more accurate your goals will be for setting with inviting. So if I invited 10 people and I had a 50% conversion rate, right? Like my inviting's pretty on point. And if I just did that more consistently, like every week, I would know how many I would get every month. So I think it's really important to understand your personal goals, like what you're trying to build with the people that you're inviting. Like, are you trying to achieve a certain amount of people that you want to help per year? Are you trying to add a certain amount of people to your challenge group? Are you trying to just get enough to hit Success Club and bring in new blood every month? Are you trying to get enough to find coaches? Like really kind of understanding the business side of it. And that's going to come naturally. I will say having goals around the actual invite is super important, but I will say that it's even more important to really understand why you're doing it and what it actually means to you. Trust said, I feel like I would be more comfortable if I knew what to say to invite them to. Okay, so I hope that this helps because that's what we're going to go over. So here's the very first question that I want you guys to answer. And I'm going to give you, a few minutes to answer this. But the question is, define what the invite actually is for you. And what I mean by that is, when do you get to count it as an invite? Like when you say this, that means you've invited them. Does that make sense? Like define that for you. Define that moment. Is it the transaction? Is it the commitment? Is it just when you like publicly invite? Like define what the invite is for you. And I want you to write it down. And then you can post it in the chat too, if you want, because this I think is really helpful for other people to see the answer. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple minutes to do that. In order for you to count it, what does that invite have to look like? Does that make sense? Does everyone understand the question? I know it's kind of confusing. One-on-one communication and something specific. Okay, so most of you are saying when you specifically or directly ask someone between the two of you a question, a direct question. So this is where I think maybe a little shift will happen. So most of the time, and maybe some of you that had like really high confidence in your inviting can validate this, or I don't know, give some perspective on this in the chat. Most people say, when I ask someone to join me, when I ask someone to join my challenge group, when I ask someone if they want more information. Okay, for me, the invitation is made when I ask someone if they're ready to make a change and do the work. So the difference is, I'm not asking them to do something for me. I'm asking them if they're ready to do something for themselves. Does that make sense? I'm telling you guys, that one shift in your mindset is going to free you from so much fear, because when you're asking and inviting someone to join something or be part of something that you care so much about, and they say no, or they're like, that's not for me or whatever, it's so easy to take it personally, but you have to understand this isn't about you. It's about them. It's not about your growing community. It's not about our amazing products. It's not about any of that. Like in this moment, when you're inviting somebody, what we're actually inviting them to do is a lot of work. And it's actually really hard. So for me, the actual invitation to do the work is when I count it. And most of the time, by the time that question is happening, like, are you ready? Like, do you want to change? Like, people are coming to me because all of my posts, all of my invites, public, everything that I've been doing has funneling down to that one question. Are you ready to make a change or not? That's it. Now, are you ready to join my challenge group or whatever? And I'll say things like, I have this group going, I have this group starting. Here's when it's starting, whatever. Are you ready to make a change? Where are you at? Does this sound like something that's in season right now for you? There's always an element of what's going on for the other person in this moment, because that's really what's going to get them moving forward, right? So for me, the definition of an invitation is if I can reach a point with that person where I can say to them, are you ready to do the work and make a change? And they say, yes. The invitation's done. They said yes, they accepted it, right? Everything else from this point on is the work, right? So that piece of it is really important. Does anybody have any questions about that? Does that make sense? Right. It takes a lot of pressure off you as a coach, right? And it helps us really stay grounded in where we need to be, which is when you put your coach hat on, it's not about you. It's about your team. It's about your players, right? It's about the overall vision and perspective. It's about the game. It's about what we're trying to accomplish here. So when you put that coach hat on, you kind of have to take yourself out of it, which is kind of awesome, because how much do we sit there and think about like all the things we need to change and how bad we're at certain things and all the things we aren't. In that moment, when you're actually coaching people, you get to focus on what they are feeling they aren't good enough for, what they are struggling with, what their problems are. And guess what? You just get to focus on solutions. You get to focus on building their confidence. You get to focus on doing something and coaching somebody in a moment and giving them hope for their life and for their goals and what they're trying to accomplish. That's awesome. Do you know what happens when you get to do that every single day? All that shit you worry about in your own life starts to get resolved. It starts to go away because you start finding solutions for it. You start coaching yourself through those moments. It's so incredibly powerful. Okay. So number one, define what that invite is and start catering your language around that. How can I get people to the point where they're like, I am ready. Let's go. I'm messaging you. Let's make a plan and let's get to work. Okay. The second question I have for you guys, what do you hope your invite is going to lead to? This is another not trick question, but this is important. Once that invitation is made, what do you hope it's going to lead to? And I want you to write that down. I'm going to give you a couple minutes. Oh, that's good. A life changed for the better. Stop surviving and start thriving. Love that. Friendship, support. I think sometimes it's really easy to get into this mode that I want the invite to lead to a sale. I want the invite to lead to a new challenger, a new customer, a new coach. I want the invite to lead to a rank advancement or more income or PV or an elite point, right? Like when you're thinking about building your business, you have to think about these things and you should think about these things, right? But not during the invite process. Once the invite's made, once the transactions have happened, once your challenger is getting to work, then you can take that and say, okay, where can I place this work in my business to make it work more? Right? Like if you can keep some of that stuff out of the actual invite process and you can stay really dialed in to why you're inviting people. Okay. So what do you hope your invite will lead to? This was so simple for me to answer. I hope it leads to a self-worth transformation in that person. So simple, right? I already know the process. I already know all the business things. I already know all the stuff. But at the end of the day, that's what I'm inviting people to do. And that's why it's so easy for me to invite. That's why it's like, I have no qualms or questions or problems inviting people, because that's what I'm inviting them to. So really understanding why you became a coach is generally where that is going to lie. That's what you want this to lead to for other people, right? If you became a coach because it transformed your life, you can say, how did it transform my life? And for me, it gave me a belief and a hope that change is possible. No matter how far gone you are, change can always happen, right? And that's the perspective I didn't have before Beachbody. That's something that this journey gave me. And so that's the opportunity and the hope that I really share, right? Because that door that opened for me is what led to that self-worth transformation and this 11-year journey of coaching and coaching other people and doing all this stuff. So what you hope your invite is going to lead to, really staying grounded in that, is going to help you navigate all the business stuff and not get lost in it. Because when you're only focused on the business stuff, how many coaches you guys have quit because they're like, it feels salesy? Can I tell you that's not the business's problem or their coach's problem or their team's problem? That's their problem. It's their job to keep themselves grounded and aligned, even if things around them aren't, right? Okay, so next, this is an important question as well. Okay, so we're going to go into our invites in the last half of this call with all this stuff behind us, right? All this power behind us. Why are you willing to invite? Why are you willing to do it? Because can I get an amen that it's hard? Yes. Can I get an amen that it freaking sucks to get rejected, to do this monotonously every day, all day? Is it so hard to keep ourselves grounded in the importance of what we're doing and not get lost in the numbers? Yes, it's freaking so hard. So why are you willing to do it? Answer that question. If someone was saying, I'm going to put you in this position where you're super uncomfortable, where you're going to be way out of your comfort zone, where you're probably going to make an idiot out of yourself, where you don't know very much about what I'm going to ask you to talk about. And then you also have to collect money from people and then make them do a lot of hard work. What would you say? Hell no, I'm not doing that. But if they were saying, but in return, I'll give you this and you'll receive this, and this is what your reward will be. What is that for you? Because that's what's going to make you willing to do those hard things, right? It's like with parenting almost, except for you don't have a choice, right? Like how many of us would give up if we had a choice? I would. Like every day, like every 5 seconds, I would be like, I'm done. I'm out with this. Sucks. But you don't have a choice, right? And that's kind of what your own self-drive should do for you in your journey, in your life, with anything. You should have something that's driving you to stay. And if you don't know what that is, you might stay and hang around, but you're not going to make any progress. And the less progress you make, right? Like the less excited you are to keep going, and the less excited you are to invite other people to live like that. Does that make sense? So why are you willing to invite? The invite that you make at the end of this call, at the end of our power hour, you're going to know why. You're going to know what. You're going to be willing to put yourself out there in a different way, because you're now inviting to something that's real, that makes sense, that is aligned with why you became a coach in the first place. The products, the tools, Beachbody, the community, the structure, the accountability, the support, those are all things that we can sell, that we can market, that we can all day, every day. Right? But this experience that you're trying to duplicate again and again and again is what's going to make you better. Like that's what's going to make you grow as a person, as a leader, as a coach. It's going to help you build a team. It's going to help you find the right people. It's going to help you connect, right? That's what's going to build health in your own journey as a coach. And it's so important. Okay. Okay. Let's see. I've never had goals and dreams before this. Do you know how many people have that same story? So many. Beachbody opens up people's worlds because of the community. Okay. So we have 2 more questions and then we're going to start our invites. So where do you find people to invite? This is like the question of our lives, right? Where do you want to help people? Like, where do the people that you want to help live? This is the question I always ask. Where do they hang out? So if you know kind of the people that you are eager to help, great. You can then sit there and think, okay, what do they do every day? What do they like? Where would they hang out on social media? Where would they hang out in real life? Like, what are they doing? Where can I find them? Right? If you don't really know who you're trying to help, I'm going to give you guys a good solid 5 minutes of quiet. And I want you to write down 5 things that you absolutely love about this community. And I want you to write down 5 traits that Beachbody has a cure for. 5 things that Beachbody can heal, make better, transform, right? 5 things that actually speak to you. And then I want you to combine those 2 lists. And that's really the person that you're looking for, someone who needs all of these things that you love and has some of these ailments that can be cured through nutrition, exercise, and mindset work on a daily basis, right? With a community, support, structure, and accountability. So I'm going to give you 5 solid minutes to kind of figure that out. And then we'll move on with that question and into the overcoming objections. I'm going to put on a little background music.
What was the first thing, the 5 things you're looking for?
5 things that you really love about Beachbody. Like 5 things that you personally are like, this is why this is transformative. Like one really cool thing I think is like, even with this gut protocol that like Jamie was just telling your team about, they're always launching new stuff. There's always something fresh, you know, like you don't get bored too often, especially now with BOD, like interactive, like no one's getting bored anymore. There was sometimes lulls between programs, but now it's like there's something for everyone all the time. There's never a point where you don't have something to line up to keep you going. Like it's even little things like that. Okay. So once you've written down a few of these things, like where do you find these people? One thing that I love doing, and this is a really simple exercise, if you have a list of the things that you feel like Beachbody can really infuse into somebody's life and make their life better, right? How can you turn that into hashtags to like branch out your social media when you're networking and connecting and trying to find these people? Like, what would they be looking up? Right? So I just thought of 5. I was sitting here, 5 hashtags that I could use for people that could use Beachbody: tired, depressed, broke, right? Anxious, lonely. What can't Beachbody provide for those things, for those ailments, right? Those are all things I felt when I found Beachbody. Those are all things that have been worked through, right? Like, I think just understanding what you're really here to invite people to, what you hope that invitation is going to lead to, is going to help you invite better. It's going to take away, here's the 3 questions that I say to myself, right? Do I ever have to wait for a launch to invite when I have a plan like this? No. Do I ever need to struggle building my community when this is why I'm here? No. And here's the big one. Do I ever have any reason to doubt or fear when I'm grounded in this, when I have this plan and this is what I'm operating from? No. Right? Like, it's so easy to get lost in, again, like how fast we're building the business, what our rank is, Success Club, all this stuff that we have to worry about as leaders, as business owners, as CEOs, right? But as coaches, this is what we get to focus on. We have to stay grounded in people, right? Like the hospitality aspect of it, the customer service aspect of it, am I actually getting results? Are people really transforming in the way that I signed up to help them transform? Or am I just pushing them into a business model that's not mine? Like, this is mine, right? Like, I can take all of these things that I'm inviting people to, and I could invite them till I'm blue in the face with 0 expectation. I'm not looking for your money. I'm not looking for anything but your commitment and your desire to change and your willingness to say yes. If you can give me that, I can give you anything. I can give you anything that you need to keep going, right? Like, there's a huge confidence in that, in the way that you're inviting, in the way that you're speaking about what this opportunity really is. And I think when you're thinking about the opportunity as in the business side of it, right? Like, it gets lost a little bit. So if you can ground yourself in this, like I said, once people are committed, once the transactions are made, once they're to work, you can take that work that was done and you can place it in your organization, in your business, and you can be the CEO and you can say, okay, where does this make sense? Where can I place this person in the downline to benefit the longer vision? Where does this Success Club point need to go? Like, where is this commission going to come out this week? It's all connected. Do you see? It's awesome. It's awesome. Okay. So last section. And I'm just going to go over really quick the way that I structure my actual invite, because again, I do a lot of marketing, networking, connecting outside of like one-on-one conversation. But again, the invite for me isn't until I'm talking to somebody one-on-one and we've committed and the question's been asked, are you ready to make a change? Are you ready to do the work? Yes. So my next words out of my mouth always are, let's make a plan. Here's what I think, right? Or I'll say, here, let's make a plan. And this is what I do. This is important, I think. And maybe some of you that are really confident in your invite process, you can maybe share your process a little bit in the chat. But the first thing I do is I say, tell me where you've been. Tell me where you're at. and tell me where you want to go. Like, though, if you can get people that answer those 3 questions, I'm telling you guys, you can figure out the perfect program for them, the perfect nutrition plan for them, the perfect supplements to start their journey with, the perfect schedule to help them do it in a way that feels achievable, right? If you don't have those 3 pieces, where they've been, and what I mean by that is, what's your history with your health and fitness, mentally and physically, right? Like, have you been on tons of diets? Like, where are you at mentally? Are you like afraid of the scale? And you don't even have to ask any of that. If you just say, tell me where you've been, tell me where you are, and tell me where you're going, they will tell you everything. They will tell you all of it. And if you have any follow-up questions, you can just ask them. But if you can get those 3 things, I'm telling you guys, you will be able to cater exactly to that person's needs. You're not going to have to barf a ton of information or give them thousands of options. You're going to give them the option. This is it. This is the plan. Based on what you said, based on where you are, and based on where we're going, here's what we're going to do. That's what they need from a coach. They don't need an overload. They don't need a multitude of options. They don't need 100 different prices. They need one option that they can say yes or no to. And if they say no, you can adjust. No, that's too expensive. Okay, let's focus on what's most important then. For you, it's nutrition. So let's focus on Shakeology only. We'll cut out that stuff and we'll just try this, right? Like, you can always go down. It's really hard to build up, right? So I ask where you've been, where are you going? I offer them the plan. And then I say to them, does this sound like something that would work for you? A lot of coaches don't like to ask people questions like that because they're afraid of the answers. They're afraid to lose the sale. They're afraid to lose the transaction. They're losing connection because of their fear, right? I'm not afraid to push people in this direction. We want a self-worth transformation. We want a healthier and independently healthy person. That's what we want. And that's it, period. That's what we're working towards. So that's what we're going to drive home. Okay. So during that conversation, the more on point you can be, and the more detailed you are with their history, where they are and where they want to go, and you really listen and pay attention to that, you can craft the perfect plan for them. And you can say, here's the program, here's the nutrition, here's how you're going to do it. Do it this many days, do it this time of day, use Shakeology for this meal, let's go. And they'll be like, awesome, this sounds like a plan that I can do. And then guess what I say? If this sounds like something that's going to work for you, here's the link, take a look at it and let me know what you think. Do I say, go buy it and let me know when you're done? No, I say, go look at this. Now look at the package, look at the price, and let me know what you think about it. You guys, in 11 years, I've maybe talked about specific costs outside of like talking about the coaching sign up and stuff, like the cost of our challenge packs in my invite conversation, maybe 10% of the time. 90% of the time, the sale is done, they're solid, the plan's in place, and all they have to do is buy it. That's it. That's really when you know you as the coach are really mastering that process. When you're really able to cater to your challenger and like make it about them and find the things that are going to help them that seem achievable, seem doable, build confidence for them in that moment. I'm telling you guys, that conversation you have with them where they go from being unconfident, unsure of themselves, having all this baggage from their life before in this arena, right? Like all the diets they've done, all the failures they've had, literally, they're carrying it around with them everywhere they go. And if you're that person that can say, we're going to set that down, that's not yours to carry anymore. You've carried it long enough. We're going to start fresh. Here's what we're going to do. It's going to work. I got you. Like, think about how powerful that is. Right? Like, when are you ever going to have that kind of impact again in your journey with that person? In that moment is where that trust is built. In that moment is where they understand and they learn what kind of coach you are. Are you the coach that beats around the bush, that's afraid to talk to them about the things that really matter? Are you the coach that's going to give in and keep enabling them? Or are you the coach that's going to disable that dysfunction and move forward and teach them something different? This is why Success Club is so powerful, because when you become a ride or die Success Club for Life coach, it's not about the points. It's about being the kind of coach that says there is one way to manage your health. One way, through daily exercise, healthy nutrition, and that's it. That is the only permanent solution to health management. That's it, right? So if you're not focused on funneling people to both, what are you doing? You're doing the same thing they've done forever. So in this moment, when you guys are making these invitations and you're really getting people started, because that's really our job. Once they've bought it, how much can we do for them at that point? We can't exercise for them. We can't feed them. We can't make their food, right? So it's on them. You have to be able to give people the reins to move and to go. And by giving them a really solid plan, right? And then putting them into your community and your environment where they can hold themselves accountable, and you can teach them that self-accountability, man, that's what's life-changing, right? You don't want them dependent on you. You want them dependent on themselves. You want them to learn that independence and become independently healthy. Because if you think about it, the more healthy each of us are independently, how much healthier are we as a whole? Think about that impact. If every single one of us on this call was 100% healthy, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, financially, how different would this environment be? So when you're working towards that with each person that comes in, man, you guys, that is a life journey. That is a life legacy that you can build for yourself. It's so awesome when you can lose yourself in that work, right? And I promise you, and I know this is so hard to really see, I promise you, if you can define what this invite is for you, if you can define what you're trying to build here, if you're really out there to help people, you're going to have so many people you don't know what to do with, and your business is going to explode. Because once you have the people, guess what? You can manage and put them wherever you need to, honey, to get that vision snatched, right? Like, you can do that. So get the people there, latch them onto your vision and drive hard. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. I want to take some time to invite. So I want you to take all of this, and for this last little bit of time, if you only craft one solid invite out of this, you made huge progress tonight. Okay. If you're thinking through it and you're trying to figure it out and you're working on this invite stuff for this last couple minutes, and you go out there and you're like, okay, I'm going to follow up with somebody and invite them. I'm going to reach out to on my socials. I'm going to go make a public invite. I'm going to find a friend or a family member to invite. Whatever you're going to do, I want you to infuse all of this stuff that you just kind of sorted through in your mind into that invite and see how it comes out differently. It should come out much more simple, very short and to the point, right? It should feel a lot easier. And then as you kind of work through that, if you want to go over any language Like, I don't know how to say this, or I don't know how to word this, or this is the wording I'm using that's not working. I want you to write it in the chat and I'll kind of try and help coach you through that. If there's objections that you're having a hard time overcoming, you can write those in the chat and we'll kind of go over those as well. So I'm going to give us this last 10 minutes to kind of go over that. And then we'll take the last 3 minutes to wrap up. Okay. Okay, so Courtney, what I'm gathering is you've been working with somebody for 3 months and they're just not getting it. Like they don't understand the community, the culture. Honestly, what that really comes down to is they don't want to do the work.
No. She's new.
Oh, okay. So explain to me.
So I've been chatting with her for about 2 weeks.
Okay.
I sent her some samples of the workouts, a couple different ones because she was into lifting and dancing and stuff. I sent her a sample of Energize in the mail. And then I followed up and invited her. She asked about pricing and stuff. So I broke down like a basic just of what was included in the package. I gave her a graphic because I'm visual and I like to see things.
Sure. Yeah.
I gave her specifically for job 1 and also for like an overview, like a general package, right? She came back and said it wasn't really like her thing. It was too expensive. So I said, okay, well, I went back through our conversation. I was like, you told me you wanted to work on your fitness. So what do you think about starting with just the workouts? And you could do this for 3 months. And if you find something you really like, we can upgrade you to a total package. We can incorporate the other nutrition things, later on as we go, as you're comfortable. And just now, literally, as you were going over things, she came back and said, I already have that. But I know that she doesn't have that. Like she has like an Instagram account. That's her support, whoever's online. And I'm not knocking that because it's great. People are very supportive of people.
Yeah. I would run away. I'm not joking.
Like if you've got to drag them, it's too much work.
No, if someone was talking to me like that, I've seen that 5 million times. It's a dead end street. It will suck all of your time and energy in life. And this is the perfect person for the takeaway approach. The takeaway approach is, let me know when you're ready. I'm here. Until then, peace out. I don't stop for anyone. This is the kind of person that is all about edifying themselves. They don't have, they will take whatever environment is around them and conform it to keep them in the same place they've always been. And they make it look really shiny, and they make it look really pretty, and they make it look like it's going to be the most amazing thing ever. And they're going to be your best challenger and your best coach, because they're lying to themselves. I have seen this 5 million times. And I'm telling you, this is when you ghost her, you run away, and your takeaway approach is your best bet with these people, because that's really, the takeaway approach is really going to bring out either the narcissist in those kind of people, or it's going to bring out their real true intention, which is their insecurities, their lack of self-worth, their fear, which is really what's actually holding them back. And those are my favorite people. The ones that come out and they're like, you're right. You're so right. I'm making excuses, right? Like, this is what I always do. And you aren't letting me be that anymore. Like, you want me to be better. There's two beautiful sides to those people. This one, I think, is more of like, I'm going to do what I want. But you just have to really learn, like, nothing is worth that. If they don't want to work, there's nothing you can do. If they're uncoachable, stop coaching them.
Okay. So just basically tell her.
I would say, that's great. Good luck. Good luck. Keep me posted on how it's going. That's what I would say. I would end it.
All right, cool. Thank you.
The thing is, like, she knows you're there. She's going to see you all day, every day, moving forward, making progress. And in 6 months, when she's not anywhere further along, right? Like, that's going to come back and bite her. And that's on her, sucks. That's the hardest part about being a coach, you guys. It's like, if you think about it in any other circumstance, when you have a player who has so much potential, right? And they don't get it. They can't conform. They can't do the work to tap into that potential, right? Like that football player, I can't remember his name. Where'd all the boys go? I don't know where you are. Who like literally walked off Tampa Bay, the team, and was like, I'm out. Like, one of the most talented athletes ever. No one can work with him. He's uncoachable. So what happened? He lost his entire career. No one's going to draft him. No one's going to sign him. Done. Not because he doesn't have potential or that he's amazing or he's a good person. Nothing, none of that, right? It's because he's uncoachable. He can't work on a team. He can't see outside of himself. And there's a lot of people like that. And it's painful as coaches. But I'm telling you, it's not worth. Yeah, Antonio Brown. I knew Eric would know. Like, there's just nothing you can do. I think one of the hardest lessons to learn as a coach, especially in the inviting process, and especially like even with your coaches, like when you invite new people to coach, is people's true character and true colors really come out. And all of the facade that they've been saying, like, either comes to fruition and that really is who they are, what they say is who they are, or it's not at all. And I think that especially for people like me who love people, who give everyone the benefit of the doubt, who trusts everyone naturally and just wants everyone to win, like, that is devastating at times. And you really have to, again, stay true to your plan and what you're trying to accomplish. And if people don't fit into that, don't bring them in. Stop trying to make things fit that don't. That's like my life advice for you tonight. Stop trying to make things fit that don't. Relationships included, right? You will be so much happier. Okay. Let's see. Okay. It's 7:57. Do any of you guys have any other questions or objections you want to go over. Was this helpful? Can you write down maybe like what your biggest takeaway was in the chat? I'm going to sneak peek what we're going to do on our next power hour while you guys are doing that. Okay, so this is my invite power hour 2.0. And basically what it is it teaches you 50 different kinds of inviting, like 50 different ways to invite, how you can, you know, cater your invites, right? So a bold invite, a brave invite, a current invitation, a leveraged invite, right? For people who ghost you and are inactive, like how to reach out to them. This, like how to set the tone, how to open the door, how to coach out loud, how to reach out to them. This is like a very in-depth invite power hour. And we literally go through each one and I have you do each kind of invite. It's really helpful to help you guys understand, like what kind of inviting is the most natural to you, maybe what you're already doing and don't even realize it, but how you love to invite. I think once you really understand your personal invite process, you do it again and again and again and again and again. Like once it clicked for me in my first few months coaching, like I burned so many bridges. I said so many dumb things. I had to backtrack a million times. I learned that I can salvage any conversation, no matter how far off it gets, no matter how salesy I become or how ungrounded I become. I can always recover as long as I'm willing to call it out. I totally got off track. I'm talking way too much about price and information. The most important thing right now is like where you've been and where you are and where we're going. So let's reset. Let's start over. Like I'm not afraid to call that out and re-invite, you know? And so this is helpful because once I invited somebody successfully, meaning I networked, I connected with them, I had the one-on-one conversation and invited them, they committed, they purchased the product, the transaction was made, they went into my challenge group, right? And they thrived. I was like, that worked. And I just did it again and again and again and again and again. And I still invite that same exact way. So for 11 years, that's how I've invited. And that's why I love it so much, because for me, it's so much more about just the numbers that are going to be good for my business. It's really like, again, I came here to help people. There's nothing, the only reason I'm willing to do this kind of work is because I believe so deeply in the work that I'm doing. Does that make sense? So much of coaching was so far out of my comfort zone, super introverted, super shy, very insecure, very mentally and physically unhealthy, financially a mess. I mean, like I was a mess coming into this and thinking about, honestly, you guys, it's like, I'm so sick of dealing with myself. I just want to help other people for a minute. And that's when I got lost in helping other people through their limiting beliefs and their problems and finding solutions for them, and learning how to do that for other people is what taught me how to do that for myself. And that changed my whole life. You know, it's awesome. So the more you lean into that, when you put your coach hat on, like, who am I here to serve? What am I here to do? All of the other things, your challenge group filling up, the activity in it, rewards, recognition boards, elite, premier, success club, all of this stuff is going to come for you if this is what you're coming for, right? Like if you're coming to help people, then freaking do it well. Be a good coach. Master this invitation process, because it's the most impact you're going to have as a coach in your journey with the people that you're working with. Period. This is when the change happens. The pivot happens in the invite. It's awesome. And you guys should crave that every day. Again, if I could invite, I would invite all day, every single day, and do nothing else. I would have that conversation thousands of times, because I already know the path that it sets people on, the freedom that it brings, and the perspective that it gives. I know what comes from that invitation. A self-worth transformation. And that's why I show up every single day. Okay. So I don't have next week, but I am on the following week, and we're going to go through that Inviting 2.0 Power Hour. I think it's already on my YouTube. I don't know if it's public or private. I can go look, but I'm going to post this Power Hour on my YouTube. I always post mine. They're always public. So if you missed the networking and connecting one, those are both on there. You can go back and do them. We'll go in depth into inviting next time and give you guys a lot more language and tools in that area. I hope that this was helpful for you guys. My YouTube, I think, is just at Coach Jace. I actually have no idea. I only post like coaching videos on there. I think it's just at Coach Jace, and you'll find it. But if there's anything that I can help you guys do better in the invite process, it's really understanding what it means to you, because you'll do it more. Do any of you guys feel better about inviting now? Raise your hands. Do any of you guys feel more confident and like more calm about what you're doing? Awesome. That, like, you guys just made 6 months worth of progress in an hour, and that's really the case. Okay. So if you have some success with this, reach out to me, let me know. I love hearing success stories, and I'll see you guys in a couple weeks.